request Mr. Mufassil Islam to have a few words with us. Mr. Mufassil Islam is a human rights advocate, an activist, an eminent theologian, and famous freelance journalist, and he was the former chairman of the For Britain political party of the Northern Ireland. Please welcome Mr. Mufassil Islam.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm delighted to see all of you here because this is our first trial seminar, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to continue this pre-discussion in the near future. I expect in the future to bring up more challenging issues so that we can have candid discussions. Because if we can't discuss, then who can? We are lawyers, and we are used to having discussions and debates and arguments in courts. Mamun enlightened us about aspects of Quran, and he touched up on hadith and all. So that he emphasized, as I understood thus far, that Quran should be the pivotal or the sole source of Islam, or the religion that we know. Or he doesn't want to denote it as religion. Then Ahmed Rashid Bhai emphasized on other issues, and Jamal Bhai also emphasized on divinity of the Quran. But as usual, I'm not going to look at it simply from faith perspectives, because as researchers, we have to take a neutral stand. When it comes to research, we have to be absolutely neutral. We can have personal faith. It's not a problem. We can view things from faith, and we can view it from outside the domain of faith. If you are a Muslim, and if you say that's my faith, that's my belief, I believe Quran, I believe Sunnah and Hadith and all, I don't want to question it. That's it. And I'm done for it when it comes to debating, looking for sources. I don't want to know. All I want to know what was handed down to me. It was either handed down to me by my parents, or it was handed down to me by my society, by my culture, whatever. Then I have no issue with it. But when it comes to research, as somebody who believes in reason, logic, somebody who believes in evidence, I will question every aspect of Islamic law. I don't need to talk much about Islamic law, as my friend here, Ahmed Rashid Bhai, has already discussed all this. But to make the short story short, and to succinct the issue, Ahmed Rashid Bhai probably touched upon it, which is, what is the basis of this Islamic law? Because Islamic law doesn't seem to be the same around the world. Every country claims to be following Islamic law. Even Pakistan has different Islamic law than Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia has different Islamic law than Iran. And we have a different Islamic law based on what we have, our family laws in Bangladesh, which was vastly amended and taken away from the prevalent understanding of Islamic law by Muslim Family Law Ordinance and Dissolution of Marriages Act during Ayub Khan's regime, when Ayub Khan visited John F. Kennedy. So 1961, he was slapped with this understanding that you should amend your understanding of Islamic Muslim family law. You have to come at par with us. But nevertheless, Islamic law, if you say the Sharia, and Sharia, as you already know, Sharia is something which is you are going down from a place to the water. But I have seen, as a student of comparative religion, that the earliest Christians were not known as Christians until St. Paul came up with this idea of Christianity, or who you are as a Christian. Rather, people of the earliest Christianity, they were known as people of the way, which is almost like the Sharia as we know today, the people of the Sharia. But let's come to the challenging part. It's all good. We understand that Islamic law, Sharia, is probably something which is feared by the Western people to some extent. And on the other hand, if we see the history, it seems that Western laws were greatly benefited from some aspects of Sharia. Now, as somebody who tries to dig, I'm a digger, I dig. So, as someone who dug and dug and dug, I found out that the most revered of the tafsir, see, I'm going back, the back foot here. Tafsir, Ibn Kathir was a man of the 14th century. I can't find anything before the 14th century that I can really say, oh, what an accolade of understanding, what a great work, or a basis of Islamic tafsir. And I would say he's one of the most revered. If we go around the time, then we are confused. We see a period of Muslims fighting Muslims and claiming to be others not being perfectly Islamic. And if we go to the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, then we have problem. And we are still suffering from that understanding even today, because I have seen that Maududi, who is one of the Abdullah Maududi, is one of the most influential Islamic scholars of today. And it seems that he was influenced by Taymiyyah, and then also others like, Ahmed ibn Hanbal had quite a bit of influence on Taymiyyah and all. So, if we see their understanding of Islam, which is playing a key role in some of the groups who are trying to establish Sharia, Islamic law, Islamic state, then I have to dig deeper. Where is it coming from? They're saying not, for example, Maududi is not salat or prayer are the main things. But again, Islam is something which encompasses almost everything, your personal life to your public life. So these are all intertwined. So I dug and dug and dug, and ended up with Muawiyah, who in fact formed the first Jama'ah, which is in fact dividing the Muslim community as we are a bit perfect, more perfect than others. And I dug and dug and dug, and ended up having Battle of the Jamal and other battles. And so the Battle of Jamal, or Camel, and the battle between Muawiyah and Ali, all made me think, was Islam really meant to be a law of the state? Because the Quran doesn't say that. So I kept on digging again. I became a greater digger. And I found out that Quran, in fact, told Muhammad, if the name is not there, but anyway, in Surah 88, verse 20 to 24, that you are not their controller, you're not their ruler. And I mean, I'm talking about common sense. That if Allah, God, wanted Muhammad to be a ruler, a king, then obviously he was handed down with some responsibilities. He must have had a organized administration. And I kept on digging and digging again. I couldn't find any sign of organized administration during Muhammad's time, and I kept on digging again. Medina chart is so vastly applauded. Medina chart, absolutely no basis of it, no basis whatsoever. Not in Quran, not in Tafsir, not in Nasira, not in Hadith. It's not even mentioned. So imagine that you are a king, or you are a ruler, or you have administration of Makkah and Medina. You know you're going to die. Surah 3 verse 144. All the prophets died, so he's going to die. So here he has a growing political power, a state sort of, he's not going to let his followers know who will take over. So imagine there's no system of Khilafah here, not in the Quran, not even in the Hadith, although there are arguments between Shias and Sunnis. So you're going to die. So what's going to happen to the victory that you had? Who's going to run your show? Obviously, your followers will fight for power. So that's what happened. All the Sahabas were trying to kill one another. And we are all told to respect all of them because they're all heaven-bound. I mean, come on. One of them has to go to hell. That's what I understand. Because one was a killer, other got killed. One probably might have justifiable reasons to kill the other. Then the killed probably went to hell. And after the killer or the one who killed went to heaven. I mean, these are all confusing again. So I'm lost. I kept on digging. Hadiths. I couldn't find any reason whatsoever to believe that this hadith collection is correct. Why? Because the claims are, for example, the most authentic of the 6 hadiths is the Bukhari. There's no copy of the Bukhari before the 12th century. There's one abridged copy in Austria, in Belgium, but a few pages. That's not good enough for me. Then I found British Library had the oldest one. Surprisingly, not a Muslim country. The British Library had the oldest one, the 12th century. Okay, so we are down to 12th century. Let's go back. I found one single sentence of hadith in 300 years of Farsi Islamic history, and that is in Austria. And can you tell me who? Can you guess who? Which is the earliest one of the earliest hadiths? You know what I mean, right? So that was before Bukhari. Muwatta Malik. Thank you. Muwatta Malik. So he has one sentence in Vienna Library. No, museum. That's it. Adios, hadith. So Bukhari dictated hadiths to hundreds of his, audience. Not a single copy. And he spent 12 years, and some argue more, I would say less, in verifying hadiths. So the hadiths, if they're verified, and he verified 300,000 hadiths, so he performed ablution before every hadith. So he ended up doing ablution. I meditated that because I took 5 minutes in a fast mode, and you will end up doing ablution for 12 years. Come on, he was doing ablution for 12 years. And forget about doing salah before every assessment. So he probably would have needed 1,000 years to do all that. And then he dictated before, at the fag end of his life, to Farabri. We don't know much about Farabri. For example, Shafiq is a genius. He's genius. We are applauding him. But before his death, he dictated to Mufassil, who is probably, I don't know, an idiot maybe. I don't know. People don't know much about me. So that's Farabri here, and that's Bukhari. And just before 60 years before, after that, I heard twice from great Bukhari there. I told to Ridwan, who is 17 years old, and I say, Bukhari got Bukhari. Doesn't make sense to me. They were not free either, all these other collectors. For example, Nasai was beaten to death, if the Islamic history is right. He was beaten to death because he disagreed with others and didn't show respect to Muawiyah. So they were not free. So if they were not free, they were not persecuted. None of these hadith collectors were persecuted, as rightly my brother here, Mamun, said, that, they were all Iranian people, more or less, to make it, Persian people. So I'm lost there. All the hadith collections, I'm lost. There's no basis of saying that they really is authentic. as a man of the 21st century, sorry, I'm not ready. Then go for grammar. Somebody said, Mufassil, you don't know Arabic grammar. I said, I do very well. So I researched into Arabic grammar. My brother here, Amin Rashid Bhai, we spent quite a few times. And he always responds with a smile to me. Always with a smile. Always with a smile. I know silence is a killer. I didn't know smile is a killer as well. But I found out a smile is a killer. So I asked him, Amin Rashid Bhai, the grammar of Arabic, who were behind them? And I found out Sibwe and others, they were all Persian again. So I couldn't make head and tail of it, of Quran, without due respect, without the Persian help. And the earliest of Quranic interpreters were Persian. And again, the Hadith collectors, Abu Huraira. I mean, imagine this, we have a rebel poet in Bangladesh, right? Do you know who rebel poet is in Bangladesh? Who? Qazi Nazrul. Imagine that we know rebel poet, but we don't know his name. How would that sound? So we have Abu Huraira, and we have 27,000 hadiths of Sunni collections, but at least 7,000 are accepted. But anyway, imagine, we know Abu Huraira, father of kitten, without due respect, that's his kunya. But we don't know his actual name. Muslim scholars provide 15 different names of Abu Huraira. They could never agree about his name. And why is his name necessary? Because that every name bears a testimony to where he came from usually. So not like Azari, but anyway, but that's what it is. So we don't know. And again, the names of hadith collectors or the hadith narrators is a problem because there are gaps. There are gaps there. The hadith gone through the window. It's gone. Totally gone. Yes. So let's go to Quran now. I'm a man again. I'm digging. Nothing beyond my question. I question everything. The first question I asked my mom, why 2 plus 2 is 4? I'm asking Mom, why 2 plus 2 has to be 4? Why can't it be 5? So my mom had to ask our house help to get some bananas from the shop and told me 2 is 4. I said, at last I know. So I started questioning the Quran itself. There's not a single copy of the entire Quran before the 10th century. Not a single copy of the entire Quran carbon dated, complete from our source before the 10th century. Not a single one. You can go for 90%, not 100%. So what is happening to 10%? So now if you're, again, going to carbon dating, a few pages of the earliest recensions are available, Birmingham manuscript and others. A few pages, don't get me, it's not an entire copy, a few pages, which has almost matches it today. But again, I found out that if they are like the earliest, oh wow, everybody jumped. Oh, we have the earliest Quran copies, we have found the Birmingham manuscript. I took it, I started taking it. And all the Muslim ulama scholars, they shouted, it's fantastic. But I found out later on, they all said carbon dated can't be relied on. I said, carbon dated can't be relied on with 97% authenticity. I said, no, it can't be. So why not? Because it predates Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's time. What? So most of the scientific carbon dating today dates the earliest manuscript to be before the time of Prophet Muhammad. Revelation 6:10. And then this another something, like the surahs or the chapters were never named by Prophet. You don't know where the names came from. Nobody knows who named them. One or two hadiths will tell you Baqarah, but you can't do that. If it is, so that's it. Manuscript wise is gone. Now, grammar wise, some of the linguistics experts, I sat down with them, and that surahs which will have the same type of starting. For example, say the surahs which will start with swearing or with oaths. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr and all that. You know, the surahs which start with Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul huwallahu ahad. They will have the same type of, narration, the same pattern, and I deciphered the etymology of those surahs, and I found out those surahs will have a certain regional influence. For example, Syria, and the others will have Hebrew, and the Quran. And strangely enough, for example, Wattina was Zaitina, Watura Sinin. The Sinin word is Hebrew; it is not Arabic. But again, somewhere else, it is Arabic use. So that made me believe that it can't have, probably it never came to one prophet. It didn't come to one prophet. Quran is never meant to be a book. It's read, yeah? It's read, it's a Musa. So it's never meant to be a book, a single book. It was not meant, it was never meant. And Yasin, we spoke about. Yasin, is probably the prophet, one of the prophets' name was Yasin. So the main purpose was to free us from rules and laws. Being lawyers, we had that. The main purpose of Quran was because the day and night, we are saying, Mamun and I especially, we are saying that every day, that Mamun, why we are praying, Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim? We are saying, come on, give us a simple way to Allah. Simple, make it simple, Allah. Don't make it tough. Make it simple. But we are handed with the most complicated way of life, how to eat, how to sleep, how to have sex, how to brush teeth, how to do this, how to do that. Imagine that Quran is telling you, Allah is here to free you. And He's telling you that the people of the past, they made their lives complicated with all these man-made issues. But again, with hadith, you are piling them up. Because I have seen that hadith, they have heavily relied on non-Islamic sources. Sometimes even not from the people of the book. Allah said, "Laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqwim," but we keep on cutting our peanuts. Because the book of circumcision of the Bible, we are altering our body. Allah said, "Don't alter it." So if I made a tattoo when I was a kafir, I made a tattoo and said, everybody jumped. Why did you make tattoo? And I said, why are circumcises there? That's irreversible. So it is astonishing. So again, now when Fatwa al-Ngiri and all that, we see all these Islamic laws and rules and saying it's probably luckily they don't have a rule to breathe. So these all rules and laws, we love them probably. We love to be bound. And this has given the so-called Islamic scholars an upper hand because they don't do anything. They only memorize. Manoj Jamali, your tie is not Islamic. Your haircut is not Islamic. Your beard is not this much. And we have to keep on hammering them. There's nothing much better to do. So, I believe this has given a tool which is against the Quran. It is given a tool of oppression. Because one of the greatest scholars, I must mention the name, was even Tofail. And he rather helped Europeans to free themselves from these rules and paved the way for European enlightenment. John Locke and others followed suit. So I believe that the roots of Islamic law doesn't exist. Absolutely, it doesn't exist. They don't exist. Islam is not here to give you laws. Allah doesn't give you laws if there is a creator. He doesn't want you to bind yourself with laws. He left it with us. If there is a God, He left it with us to use our common sense, to ask our moral heart, to take the help of the greatest people of our time, rely on parliament or others, lawmakers, they're always doing progression, and then make a decision. But we have been bogged down, and I don't believe that Islamic law really exists. It has no basis. And the people who are trying to establish Sharia, in fact, they will have no legs to stand on. Allah doesn't give you laws, rules at all. Zero. Not even how to pray. Because you cannot establish how many rakas in prayer. Can you? Can anyone? No. You can. How to pray? Can you establish? No. Imam said, who the hell was the Imam? I'm not bound to obey him. I respect Abu Hanif, but Abu Hanifa, he was not respected by Ishaq ibn Ruai, Bukhari's teacher. He was respected. He didn't respect Abu Hanifa. But we say we are Hanafi Mazhab. You know, all these greatest jurists didn't agree with the Hadith collectors, and again, then Sirat al-Nabi, and then Sirat Rasulullah, Ibn Hisham. You cannot give me one single unquestionable source of Imam in any of the Sirahs. Lastly, for sure, Muwatta ibn Malik you mentioned. There are 30 different versions of Muwatta ibn Malik. 30. The most important was Yahya. Yeah, am I right? So if somebody pulls Muwatta Malik, I will say, which version? Which version? Right? So to conclude my speech, I will say that none of the Islamic law, none, absolutely none, including giving emphasis on the Prophet Muhammad solely. Because if you argue, I will say Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa. So if they were all saying, fear God or love God and follow your heart, follow your common sense, I've given you reasonable mind. Yes. That's enough. How are they different? Why do I have to be Arabic to be a good Muslim? Why do you have to buy dates sitting in Bangladesh when I have a mango fruit? Because there was a prophet in my land who loved mango fruit. Was he looking for dates from Saudi Arabia? Doesn't make sense. You can't establish any of them. Let's free ourselves from all this, I'm sorry, use the term, nonsense. People ask me, Mamun, is it so easy? I said, yes. You asked for Siratul Mustaqim. It is easy, Mobin. You're making it complicated. Use your common sense, use your reason, use your logic. You're not going to kill someone, you're not going to rape someone because, Hadith said, because in our Bangladesh we say, At-tuhuru sabtul iman. So you have to be so, you have to be very nice, neat and tidy. And look at here, how clean, and look at Gulistan in Bangladesh. You'll find out. You don't need At-tuhuru sabtul iman to guide you. Look at, you say, Yarhamu man fil ardi, yarhamu man fil sama. You're saying that you have to love animals. But at the end, here they are the animal lovers. They're using common sense. They have freed themselves from all laws and rituals. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you very much for your time.